What if everything you thought was loyalty was actually just a staged illusion? Believe me. That's the cloud hovering over Claressa Shields' situation. According to Tasha K., this story was never about rumors or gossip. This was about proof gathered quietly over weeks, from cameras, from social media, and from the noise that loves to blur reality. The truth didn't crash in all at once. It showed up in pieces, scattered. Clues that slowly exposed a pattern. Dates refused to line up. Messages meant for one person somehow landed with several others. Excuses that sounded too familiar kept recycling, just sent to different inboxes. On the surface, Claressa Shields looked unbreakable. She posted confidence. She posted love. She posted certainty. She made it seem like nothing on earth could rattle her. But behind the screen, according to Tasha K., cracks were spreading through the foundation she trusted. People tried to warn her more than once, softly and respectfully. They didn't scream or chase headlines. They whispered. They nudged. They asked questions that didn't add up at first glance. But when you're deep in love mode, when your trust is fully locked in, red flags tend to fade into background noise. You want loyalty to be real, so you spot it even when it isn't. The reality, based on what was uncovered, turned out far messier and far more calculated than anyone imagined. Papoose wasn't just hiding a secret here and there. He was running a system. 5 women, 5 very roles. One offered emotional support. Another stayed low-key, kept quiet out of public view. One was a past connection that had never truly ended. Another was a recent short-term relationship, reckless but active. And finally, there was one held as a future option, present enough to remain available, distant enough to stay undefined. This wasn't randomness. It was structured, intentional, and methodical. Claressa, knowingly or not, was standing inside something that was never designed to protect her. The breaking point didn't happen on social media, during a dramatic argument, or in a viral post. It happened quietly on Christmas, a day she believed belonged to the two of them. But the truth Tasha K. claimed was far harsher. Papoose had already made other plans. Claressa's special day had already been scheduled and she wasn't included. That quiet moment of realization, not tears or public confrontation, marked the beginning of a collapse. The story Tasha K. told begins not with spectacle, but with certainty. These were not unverified rumors or gossip to be taken lightly. Every name, every timeline, every voice note was cross-checked. Patterns were examined. Every detail was measured and compared. The picture that emerged was not chaos. It was calculated design. According to Tasha K., multiple people tried to warn Claressa early on, long before the public even noticed anything amiss. No confrontation, no public call-outs, just quiet hints, questions, subtle observations. But love has a way of turning even blazing red flags into background noise. She trusted the loyalty she was shown, or at least the version of loyalty she was handed. The first bombshell changed everything. This was not one woman, one secret, one minor slip-up. According to Tasha K., Papoose was involved simultaneously with 5 women, each with a distinct role and purpose. One woman was emotional support, someone he checked in with consistently. Another was a low-profile, almost invisible relationship, intentionally kept off the radar. A third was a past connection that never fully ended, familiar, comfortable, and easily accessible. A fourth was recent and short-term, a new emotional or physical connection. And the final one was held as a future option, someone close enough to remain available, but distant enough to stay undefined. This was not disorganization. This was a system. The patterns were clear. Travel dates didn't align neatly. Voice notes identical in tone and phrasing were sent to different women. Excuses, work conflicts, family obligations, scheduling issues were repeated, but always delivered to new recipients. Nothing was random. It all pointed to structure, to calculated choices, and to careful orchestration. For Claressa, the public and private realities did not match. Outwardly, she appeared unshakable. She posted confident captions, displayed loving gestures, and projected composure. But privately, according to Tasha K., she had begun seeing fragments of messages and inconsistencies. Not enough to fully confront him. Not yet, but enough to plant doubt. Instead of facing the truth, she searched for context, explanations. Interview 5:49/6:14. Alternate meanings. She convinced herself she was different, that her place in his life felt secure, that loyalty still lived in her lane. That belief, however, was a trap. Tasha K framed it as the moment when trust began to crumble, not loudly, not publicly, but quietly inside. Love had turned into defense. Claressa Shields defended loyalty that was being split across multiple channels. She contextualized inconsistencies, rationalized overlapping dates, explained away repeated excuses. Her strength and confidence, which the public admired, had been weaponized, not by force, but by assumption. She was strong, so she would endure. She was confident, so she would protect the image. She was visible, so she became a shield for the system. The turning point, Tasha K explained, was the Christmas incident. Claressa Shields spent the day alone shopping at a high-end store, racking up roughly $30,000. She acted as though this was a gift from Papoose. As though the gesture preserved the bond, but it was more than a shopping trip. It was a symptom, a behavioral sign of misalignment between image and reality. Meanwhile, Papoose spent the holiday with his family, including Remy Ma and their daughter. This distinction mattered. What Claressa Shields was told family obligations was only partially true. The reality Tasha K claimed revealed that the system was still functioning, prioritizing other relationships over the one Claressa Shields believed to be hers. Divorce papers or the lack thereof played a critical role in the larger story. The legal narrative was never about law. It was about leverage. As long as the divorce remained unresolved, control remained intact. Ambiguity maintained power, postponed accountability and left options open. In this system, every decision was strategically timed, every silence deliberate, and every delay calculated. Claressa Shields bore the emotional weight, defending a narrative she did not fully control. The public, however, saw nothing but confidence, no tears, no dramatic posts, no messy confrontations. On the outside, she looked unbothered. On the inside, according to Tasha K, she was stuck between what she truly felt and what she had already defended out loud. Walking back from a story once loudly protected invites humiliation, and humiliation usually delays the moves that matter most. Strength admired by everyone else turns into a silent demand. Endure quietly, absorb damage privately. Silence in this situation wasn't confusion or hesitation. It was strategy. Public statements were limited. Denials were brief or non-existent. There was no rush to explain timelines or fight specific accusations. When evidence is solid, every word can be examined, replayed, and dissected. Silence pushes the story inward. It shifts the weight of interpretation, placing the burden on the person misled instead of the one who caused the confusion. At this stage, the question is no longer about 5 women, timelines, or Christmas. The question is about choice. Claressa Shields faced a private reckoning. Walk away and lose the narrative she once defended, or stay and carry truths she cannot unsee. Every option comes with consequences. Walking away brings pride and public acknowledgement of betrayal. Staying demands compartmentalization, silence, and emotional endurance. Neither road offers peace. Both require sacrifice. Tasha K made it clear this was never about turning Claressa into a villain. It was about exposing patterns, a system where emotional access is managed across multiple women while one clean image is kept for the public. Claressa's strength was never the problem. In fact, it's what allowed the system to survive. Visibility protected the structure. Silence, endurance, and composure were not protection. They were tools used against her. The real collapse, according to Tasha K, isn't public. It's private. It's the moment someone stops defending illusions, stops justifying behavior, and finally sees the reality they've been standing in. It's the internal realization that loyalty was never exclusive, that visibility doesn't equal priority, and that silence can be a weapon rather than a shield. Once the system becomes clear, you can't unsee it. You can't pretend everything is normal. The collapse begins quietly in the mind, in the space between public posts and social appearances. It's the reckoning, the moment you replay every defense you made, every warning you ignored, every time you chose trust over instinct. The damage isn't just heartbreak. It's the heavy mix of clarity, humiliation, and betrayal realized way too late. This is where choices start to matter. Walking away bruises pride. Staying wrecks self-respect. Either road leaves a mark. This isn't a story about villains or victims. It's about structure, access, and who carries the emotional weight when truth finally shows up. And here's the real kicker: silence from one side isn't weakness, it's calculation. Silence from the other side isn't absence, it's endurance. Eventually, the story stops being entertainment the moment it turns into decision-making. The real collapse isn't a viral clip or social media outrage. It's the private second when someone decides whether to protect an image or finally protect themselves. Claressa Shields now stands in that space, facing truth patterns and choices that can't be delayed. Once you see the system, you can't unsee it. And once you see it, you have to decide. What comes next? The narrative Tasha K laid out flips the story from rumor to revelation. It's about emotional management, deliberate design, and the price of visibility. Claressa's strength was admired, but it was also assumed, exploited, and used to maintain an image that never matched reality. The collapse she faces is internal, psychological, and permanent. Once the truth is clear, the only question left is what happens next. Do you protect the image or yourself? Do you stay inside the structure or finally walk away? Either choice leaves scars. Either choice reshapes identity. And either choice exposes what happens when loyalty was never what it appeared to be. This is the moment most people never see coming. It's private, quiet, and deeply transformative. The collapse doesn't scream. It suffocates. And the decisions that follow will shape not just relationships, but self-respect, dignity, and emotional freedom.